Hey guys, I'm Alfred Portraitspot and welcome to week 9 of the Premier League review. If you are new to the series, what we do is we take a look at the past set of Premier League results, we take a look at the Premier League table, and we finish off by looking at the Premier League top goal scorers. So here is the past set of Premier League results. These games were played on Friday the 20th, Saturday the 21st, and Sunday the 22nd of October 2017. Also next to the games are the times in this video, so if you want to hear about a specific game, just go to the time next to the match and you skip out all the other crap. But without further ado, let's get into our first match. We start with Everton versus Arsenal. Everton took the lead in this one in the 11th minute through Wayne Rooney. It came when Granit Xhaka lost the ball in the midfield to Idrissa Gueye, and he gave the ball to Rooney about 20 yards out. He took a touch before curling one back across Petr Cech and into the back of the net. But Arsenal equalised the scoring 5 minutes before half-time through defender Nacho Monreal. It came following intense pressure from Arsenal, attack after attack from the Gunners, but they were finally able to get past Jordan Pickford in the Everton goal when a shot from Xhaka took a little deflection off of Gylfi Sigurdsson. Pickford does save it, but he can only parry it into the path of Monreal, whose shot does sneak in at the near post despite Pickford getting a hand to it. And Arsenal took the lead for the first time in this match 10 minutes into the second half when Mesut Ozil got his first league goal of the season. The goal actually started from an Everton attack. Arsenal were able to break and eventually the ball ended up on the left hand side with Alexis Sanchez. The Chilean then played a ball into the box and on the end of it, snaking in front of his man, was Mesut Ozil and the German headed home. And Everton's day will go from bad to worse as in the 70th minute they were reduced to 10 men when Idrissa Gueye got sent off. The Senegal player can't have any complaints about it as he was already on a yellow card for a naughty tackle earlier in the game and he was already warned whilst on that yellow, and following his silly challenge on Granit Xhaka, the Everton midfielder was shown the second yellow that we all knew was coming. And 5 minutes later, Arsenal got their third through Alexandre Lacazette. Yet again, a move started with Alexis Sanchez as he unleashed Mesut Ozil down the right-hand side. Michael Keane tries to close him down, but that just left Lacazette in a ton of space, and the Frenchman finished from inside the box. Arsenal got their fourth in the 90th minute when Aaron Ramsey got on the score sheet. Jack Wilshere played a lovely ball through at the Welshman that Michael Keane and John Joe Kenny do nothing about, and Ramsey simply clipped the ball past Pickford and into the back of the net. But Everton got one back in the 93rd minute, and honestly, it is one of the most pathetic goals you will see all season. Even when Arsenal are 3 goals ahead, they can't help but be idiots and prove everyone right. Imagine if they did this when it was 0-0, then the red part of North London would be burning. But the goal came from Nacho Monreal. He played the ball back to Petr Cech. Petr Cech for some reason thinks he's Ronaldinho and wants to take his time on the ball, and in scooped Oumar Niasse, who took the ball off of him and walked the ball into the empty net. But Arsenal would restore their 3-goal lead in the 95th minute when Alexis Sanchez finally got his goal for the game. It came when Sanchez had the ball on the left-hand side of the box. He made his way to the right-hand side. By this point, he had about 5 Everton players on him, but the Chilean embarrasses Michael Keane by sending him on his arse, and he powers the shot back across goal and into the far corner. And that was the game would end, and this was the final nail in the coffin for Ronald Koeman, as yesterday it was announced that Everton have parted ways with him, and they are looking for a new manager. Let's be honest, it's been coming. They brought in so many promising players this summer, and the team just haven't performed. In fact, they haven't performed at all, because this loss has sent them into the relegation zone. But Arsenal were very good this game. The first half they struggled to get past Jordan Pickford, who despite being beaten 5 times had a very good game. He made some top saves to stop the scoreline from looking any worse. But despite the shambles of the second goal they conceded, Arsenal came away from Merseyside with all 3 points. And we move on to Chelsea versus Watford. Chelsea took the lead in the 10th minute when Pedro scored a beautiful goal. It came from a corner that shouldn't have been a corner because it came off of Eden Hazard last, but it was given as a corner. It was taken short and it was pulled back to Pedro, who had no pressure on him whatsoever, and he killed it first time back across the goal into the top left corner. If you haven't seen this, go watch it. It was fantastic, despite the fact that it shouldn't have been a corner. But Watford levelled the game on the brink of half-time through Abdoulaye Doucouré. It came from a Watford free kick as the ball isn't cleared properly and it goes out for a throw-in. Jose Holebas launches the throw into the box and yet again Chelsea failed to get rid of it, and in ran Doucouré, who smashed it with the outside of his boot and it swerved in at the near post. And Watford took the lead in the 49th minute when Roberto Pereira put the Hornets ahead. Moments after Richarlison missed a golden opportunity, Watford get the ball back and go straight back on the offense. It started with Richarlison, who threaded the ball through to Pereira, and then he drilled the ball low past Thibaut Courtois. But Chelsea got the game level in the 70th minute through substitute Michy Batshuayi. It came from Pedro as he played a lovely cross into the box from the right hand side, and running near post with Batshuayi, who thumped his header into the back of the net. And Chelsea retook the lead in the 87th minute when Cesar Azpilicueta got the goal. Yet again another great cross from the right hand side, this time from Willian, and it floats all the way to the back post where Azpilicueta popped up and he headed it down past Aurelio Gomez and into the net. And Chelsea killed the game off in the 94th minute when Michy Batshuayi got his second of the match. It came following a misplaced header by a Watford defender and the Belgian pounced onto it. He has the strength to hold off Migo Blitos and pokes the ball past Aurelio Gomez. And that's how the game ended, and I cannot but feel a little sorry for Watford as they had some great chances in the second half. 2 falling with Richarlison, but he completely missed both of them. And had they gone in, we could have been looking at like 3-1, 4-1 Watford with Chelsea under a lot of pressure. But the substitute that brought on Michy Batshuayi worked wonders as the Belgian grabbed 2 goals in 30 minutes, and he possibly could have had a hat-trick. The scoreline doesn't really reflect how the game played out, as Chelsea could have been a few down, but they did manage to fight back and get the win, but there are still some problems that need to be ironed out. And we move on to Tottenham versus Liverpool. It didn't take long for one of these teams to break the deadlock, as only 4 minutes into the match, Tottenham took the lead through Harry Kane. It was that stupid donkey Lovren who was at fault for this one, as a throw-in is taken and Kieran Trippier lobbed the ball over him when he could have jumped and headed it away, but no, he just looked at it. The ball went over him, Simon Mignolet came out for it, but he doesn't get it, and Harry Kane has an empty net to aim at, and of course he buried the chance. Cool, you just want to beep behind while I'm recording? That's fine. And 5 minutes later, Tottenham doubled their lead through Heung-Son Min. And yet again, another goal that was Dejan Lovren's fault. And people wonder why I hate him. It came from Liverpool corner that Hugo Lloris catches, and he threw the ball out to Harry Kane. Dejan Lovren comes over and tries to hit it, but he completely missed it, and that left Harry Kane through on goal. He looked up, saw Son making a run, played to him, and the South Korean slaughtered home. But Liverpool would look to get back into the game in the 25th minute when Mo Salah reduced the deficit to 1. Harry Kane looks like he was fouled on the halfway line, but nothing was given, and Jordan Henderson played a cracking ball through the Tottenham backline, and on the end of it was Mo Salah, whose shot wasn't the most powerful, but it didn't have to be, as Hugo Lloris came rushing off of his line, and the Egyptian shot trickles past the keeper, and it goes in via the post. But Tottenham retook their 2-goal lead with the last kick of the half. It came from a free kick as it's pumped forward into the box. Joe Matip can only get it partially clear, and it falls to Del Ali, who smashed the volley into the back of the net from the edge of the box. But yet again, some more horrible defending from Liverpool. Matip does well to get rid of it to the edge of the box, but then there was no one else there, like literally no Liverpool midfielders, anybody there. There was only one Tottenham man who made a run into the box, so surely people should be marking the Tottenham men on the edge of the box. But no, another defensive mistake, another goal conceded. And Tottenham got their fourth in the 56th minute when Harry Kane got his second of the match. What a shock, some more terrible defending. Another set piece, Kieran Trippier puts it in, Simon Mignolet comes out to try and punch it, but he completely misses it. There was no need for Mignolet to come out for it, as there were 3 Liverpool defenders in front of him that could have cleared it, but Mignolet flaps it to Jan Vertonghen. His shot is blocked on the line by Roberto Firmino, but it rebounds to Harry Kane, and he gobbled up the chance and finished. And that's how the game ended, a well-deserved win for Tottenham. If you watch any of our streams, mine especially, you know that I'm a pretty realistic fan. I had us down to lose this game, and we did, but I never get angry or frustrated unless we either deserved to win and we didn't, or if we play incredibly bad, and we played incredibly bad in this match. Dejan Lovren got subbed off 30 minutes into the match, and then later on, he went on Instagram and just, you know, bios, they normally have Arsenal FC player, Liverpool FC player in their bio. He deleted that. He took off his profile pictures. Hopefully that's the last I see of Dejan Lovren. I hate him. I actually hate him. Go out, get a defender. Look at what Tottenham did. They brought in Davinson Sanchez, who has been actually pretty decent since he's joined. For some reason, we had all our eggs in the basket of Virgil van Dijk. When we knew that wouldn't go through, we needed to go for another centre-back. It's like on FIFA, for Christ's sake. If you go for just say you're playing career mode, if you go for a centre-back or any player that you need, just say you need another midfielder, and you go for that, you just say, okay, that's my number one option, so I'll put the bid in for that. But then, you know, these little ones here, I'll just go for them as well, just in case that top one doesn't go through. But you hope for the top one to go through, and then when it doesn't, you go for the second one, and then you work your way down. It's just stupid. You don't put all your eggs in one basket unless you know that you're going to get that player. But anyway, Tottenham well-deserved winners in the end, as they just had too much attacking power for the shambolic defence of Liverpool. And we move on to Manchester City versus Burnley. Manchester City had the perfect chance to take the lead in the 30th minute when they were given a penalty. It came when a cross into the box causes a lot of trouble for the Burnley defence. Kevin De Bruyne's shot is saved well, and Bernardo Silva nips in and looks to take the ball away, but he is brought down by the keeper and the ref points to the spot. Up steps Sergio Aguero for the chance to tie the record for the highest goal scorer in Manchester City history, and he puts the ball right as the keeper goes left, and the Argentinian equals the record. And Manchester City doubled their lead in the 73rd minute when defender Nicolas Otamendi got the goal. It came from a corner as Leroy Sané whipped the ball in, and on the end of it was Nicolas Otamendi who hits it with his head, and despite there being a man on the line, he can't get enough of it, and he can't keep it out. And 2 minutes later, Manchester City put the game to bed when Leroy Sané got Manchester City's third. It was a quick break as Kevin De Bruyne turned on the halfway line and he played in Leroy Sané. The German races through on goal and he hits it low across the keeper and into the back of the net. And that's how the game ended. Manchester City have equalled 2 records with this match. Sergio Aguero equalling the club top goal scorer record, and I mentioned earlier, and this is their 11th win in a row in all competitions, which has equalled a club record. And they can beat that record today when they face Championship side Wolves in the EFL Cup, so we could be looking at the best Manchester City side we've ever seen, which isn't that hard, to be fair. Burnley did well in the first half to keep the score down, but in the end 2 quick goals was enough to kill them off as Manchester City go 5 points clear at the top of the table. And we move on to Huddersfield versus Manchester United. The John Smith Stadium erupted 30 minutes into the game when Huddersfield hit Manchester United with a double. The first one was in the 28th minute when Aaron Moy put the horse ahead. A loose ball by Juan Mata is picked up by Aaron Moy, who gives it to Tom Ince. His shot is saved by De Gea, but the rebound falls to Moy and he buries the rebound. And 5 minutes later, Huddersfield doubled their lead following a mistake from Victor Lindelof. Huddersfield keeper Jonas Losso goes route one and just boots it down the field. The defender misjudges it and that allowed Laurent Depois to nip in one-on-one with De Gea. He goes round him and tapped it into the net. But Manchester United would look to get back into it in the 80th minute when Marcus Rashford made it 2-1. A lovely cross from Romelu Lukaku on the right hand side goes straight on the head of Rashford and he headed it into the net. But that's how the game ended. Manchester United couldn't get back into it. They had a majority of possession. They couldn't find the equaliser and it was just nice to see somebody park the bus against United. And that's how you do it. You take the lead, then you stay back. You don't come straight from the opening whistle. Now I'll park the bus. You need to take the lead. That's normally how park the bus works. And to be fair to Huddersfield, they did deserve the win. They were the better side as Manchester United just couldn't finish their chances, and Huddersfield pick up their first league win against Manchester United in 60 years. And we move on to West Ham versus Brighton. Brighton took the lead in the 10th minute through Glenn Murray. It came from a Pascal Gross free kick, and with no one around him, Glenn Murray gets on the end of it and heads it home. After waves of attack from West Ham, Brighton held on, and then in the 45th minute they doubled their lead. Glenn Murray was just denied his second by Joe Hart, but the ball finds its way to Jose Izquierdo, who curled it from outside the area, and Joe Hart can't keep it out. And Brighton had the perfect chance to seal the win in the 75th minute when they were given a penalty. Pablo Zabaleta was judged to have fouled Glenn Murray in the area, and the ref pointing to the spot. Glenn Murray stepped up to take it, and he placed it into the corner. And that's how the game ended, Brighton picking up their first top flight away win since 1983. A great night for Brighton, a horrible one for West Ham, who just couldn't get many shots on goal, with them only having 2 shots on target, both of them being long ranges that were easily dealt with. There can't be many chances left for Slaven Bilic. We've already seen Ronald Koeman sacked this week, and I'd say probably him. I'd say Everton and West Ham have both had the same starts of the season. They both had pretty poor start to the seasons. Everton's being a little worse, but West Ham, they've had a bad one as well. Brighton allowed West Ham to pressure them, and then they caught them on the counter-attack, and Brighton were brilliant throughout all this match, to be fair. And we move on to Stoke versus Bournemouth. The visitors took the lead in the 15th minute when they scored only their 5th league goal of the season. This one was a great strike as Junior Stanislas rolled the ball back to Andrew Sermon, and he found the bottom corner with a well-struck shot. And 3 minutes later, Bournemouth got the perfect chance to double their lead in the 18th minute when they were given a penalty. Benik Afobe made his way into the box and was clumsily brought down by Ryan Shawcross, and the ref pointed to the spot. Junior Stanislas stepped up to take it, and he side-footed the ball home from the penalty spot. But Stoke will get one back in the 62nd minute through Mame Diouf. Eric Peters started it as he just booted the ball up the field, and it was brought down by Eric Choupo-Moting, and in ran Mame Diouf, and it goes in off of his thigh. And that's how the game ended, a big win for Bournemouth, with them picking up only their 2nd league win of the season. Stoke pushed and pushed to find an equaliser, but in the end they couldn't find it, and Bournemouth picked up a massive win. And we move on to Swansea versus Leicester. After sacking their manager Craig Shakespeare midweek, Leicester needed a big win to try and bounce back and pick up some confidence, so it was well received in the 25th minute when they took the lead thanks to an own goal. The goal had been coming, to be fair, and when Shinji Okazaki found Riyad Mahrez on the left wing, the Algerian drilled a low ball into the box, and it took a deflection off of Federico Fernandez, and it goes past his own keeper and into the back of his own net. And Leicester doubled their lead just after half time through Shinji Okazaki. It came when Mark Albright found Riyad Mahrez in a ton of space in the Swansea box. For some reason, Swansea stopped playing. I think they wanted offside, but nothing was given, and rightly so, and Mahrez slid the ball through to Okazaki, who poked past the keeper. But Swansea got one back 10 minutes later when Alfie Mawson got on the score sheet. It came from a Swansea corner that ended up at the feet of Mawson. His turn is enough to take him away from the Leicester defenders, and he then slotted the ball into the bottom right corner. And that's how the game ended, and I'd say Leicester deserved the win. The Foxes were unhinged in the first half, unleashing constant attack after attack after attack. And Swansea always looked on the back foot following that own goal. Their goal in the second half looked like it could have sparked a comeback, but it wasn't to be, and Leicester left Wales with 3 points. And we move on to Southampton versus West Brom. It would take until the 85th minute for one of these teams to take the lead, and it was Southampton who stole all the points. It was a sublime solo effort as Sofiane Boufal picked the ball up in his own half, took it around pretty much the entire West Brom team before making his way to the edge of the area before placing the ball into the bottom corner. And that's how the game ended. This was a pretty dull one, but Southampton deserved the win. They had some great chances, but they couldn't finish. It looked like they were going to drop 2 points, but in the end, that great goal from Boufal was enough for the win. And finally, we've got Newcastle versus Crystal Palace. Just like the last match, this one wasn't a very entertaining one, and we had to wait until the final 5 minutes for one of these teams to find a way through, and it was the host Newcastle who took the lead. It came from Newcastle corner, and on the end of it was Miko Marino, who heads it over the keeper and into the back of the net. And that's how the game ended, and if I'm honest, I think Palace deserved something from this game. They played well throughout the match and probably should have taken the lead, but as we all know, they don't really have a great striker. Christian Benteke is average, and Wolf Zaha is a midfielder who is being pushed up front. But anyway, their lack of strikers has cost them, as Rafa Benitez's men picked up all 3 points. Right, so that's all the games I've got for you this week. Before we go, let's take a look at the Premier League table and top goal scorers, starting off with the Premier League table. Starting with the top 5, and as you can see, Manchester City are top following their win against Burnley. Manchester United are second following their first loss of the season against Huddersfield. Tottenham are third, level on points with United after they embarrassed Liverpool. Chelsea are fourth following their comeback win against Watford, and Arsenal make up the top 5 following their win against Everton. Moving on to the bottom 5, Crystal Palace are at the bottom following a loss to Newcastle. Bournemouth are 19th following their big win against Stoke. Everton make up the relegation zone following their bigger loss against Arsenal. Stoke are 17th after being beaten by Bournemouth, and West Ham make up the bottom 5 following their loss against Brighton. Moving on to the top goal scorers, and as you can see, Harry Kane is at the top following his double against Liverpool. That took him up to 8 goals and 1 assist. Sergio Aguero is second after his goal from the spot took him up to 7 goals and 3 assists. Romelu Lukaku is third. He didn't score this week, but he did bag an assist. He's on 7 goals and 2 assists. And making up the top 5, both on 6 goals and 2 assists, are Raheem Sterling and Alvaro Morata. Right, so that's all I've got for this week. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back next Tuesday for the next episode of the Premier League review. If you want to follow us on Twitter to stay up to date when we upload a video or go live, you can. The link is in the description, or it's at @PortsmouthSport_. Speaking of that, we should be live tonight. Jack should be live streaming his reactions to the EFL Cup game between Arsenal and Norwich, so make sure you are around for that. Kickoff is about 7:45, I think. So be sure to come back for that. If you want to follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my personal channel, you can. The links to those are in the description as well. Or my channel should be popping onto your screen round about now. But anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. We are very close to 100 subscribers. I will change my my Twitter profile picture to a Manchester United badge for a week if we get to 100 before the end of the season. So make sure you do that to punish me. But I've been Mark from a Portion of Sport, and I'll see you soon.